Accessibility Tracker is the best digital accessibility project management platform, and I'm going to show you why right now. So we're on the homepage. I'm going to go inside of the dashboard. I'm already signed in, and I've already created 6 different projects. So I've uploaded audit reports for these 6 different projects. And what's very important to note is that Accessibility Tracker is not based on a scan. This is based on an actual audit. So, what this means is the audit results and the metrics and the analytics that we get inside of Accessibility Tracker are actually accurate. They're not skewed. They're not only based on a scan. This is based on a comprehensive, manual, thorough audit. So we're inside of the dashboard, and I'm going to scroll down, and we can see that there are 6 projects. We can see the completion rate. We can see the total number of issues across projects. It's 326 in this instance. And so here we have an issue distribution breakdown where we can see our 6 different projects. We have the names of each projects, and then we have 326 total issues. So we can get a really good feel for what each project, how many issues each project has. So this is really helpful when we're not just looking at, let's say, our website, but we have different digital assets that we're concerned with. So let's say we have 2 websites and a mobile app and a web app, maybe even software, and we have audit reports for all of these different projects. Well, we can upload the audit reports, and then here we can see the issue distribution. So we can see all of the different digital assets that we need to work on. So that's this overview here. And now we can get more detailed. And what we're going to do is we're going to go inside one of the projects. So I'm going to select new project. And obviously I could have named this more specifically, but we're just going to look at this one project. Let's say this is for a website. Here we can see that analytics, we have 74 total issues. 9 issues have been fixed. Of those 74 issues, we can see that 10.8% are validated. Validated means that the fix not only has been made by your digital team, but it's also been validated by someone else, usually the auditor. So they've actually been validated so that we know those issues are completely resolved. They're not just fixed, they're completely resolved. And then we can look and we can see here the number of issues by 2 different formulas. So Accessibility Tracker has 2 different formulas for prioritization built in. One is risk factor and the other is user impact. So we can see here that 56% or 56 of the total issues actually fall under the high risk range of the top 15% of the risk factor formula. And then we can see there are 13 issues that fall in the top 15% of the user impact formula. Scrolling on down, we can see some nice graphics that show us the status distribution for this singular project. Here again, we have 8 issues that have been validated. We have 4 issues that are on hold, 58 issues that have not been started, and so on. So we have a really nice visual breakdown of these different issues. And then we have a priority distribution. Now, this is only going to show up here if we have custom priority set. So we can custom set different issues as different priorities. So we can have high, medium, or low, or we can just have no assigned priority. But this priority distribution gives you the ability to custom set some of the issues that you want to prioritize as an organization. So now we can go even further and we can view at the actual issues. So what's inside of this dashboard are really, first we get the ability to sort by different, we have the ability to filter by different criteria. We also have the accessibility audit report essentially transposed inside of the dashboard. So here we see the information from the audit report brought forward. So we have the issue, we can see the WCAG success criterion. We can assign this issue to any one of our team members. We can set the status for the issue. So for example, we could set the status as completed or on hold, etc. We can set the custom priority here. So as I said, we can have low, medium, high, or we can just not have a priority set. And then we can also sort by these different criteria. And then we have the user impact formula. We have the risk factor formula. So again, we can prioritize by either of these formulas, or we can prioritize by our custom priority. We can also sort and filter by the date that the issue is validated on, and then we can view individual issues. So I want to go up, and then we can see here again we have the project statistics. So we have the issues at the total number of issues at 74. We have the number of open issues at 58. 2 are in progress. 1 has been fixed. 8 has been validated. Of course, this is all sample data here, just meant to illustrate and show you how this would work out for your project. And then we could scroll down, and we can see that we can filter by all of these different criteria. So we can filter by the priority level, the issue status, etc. So this gives us a top down, a very like an overview, like a way that we can filter issues without looking at the issue overview dashboard. So now I'm going to scroll, I'm going to go into the view an individual issue. And so this is where we get very granular, and we can see all of the issue details. So we can see what the issue is itself, we can see the applicable code, we can see the recommendation, and so on. So we can see a lot of different details from the audit report, including the environment that reproduced this issue, etc. But what we can also do is we can add notes. So we can edit the issue, we can go to notes, and we can set in our notes, so we can have a comment log for this issue. But I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. And by the way, we can edit almost anything else from the issue itself. But we're going to uh, exit out of that, and then we're going to analyze with AI. So what's really nice is if your developer, if your content manager, if your designer, etc., needs help with fixing this issue, there are 5 different AI tools here to help with remediation. So let's just use one. Let's use the simplify and explain tool. So I'm going to go ahead and generate an analysis. And then what will happen is this will take a few seconds to finalize, because it's not streaming the answer. We're getting the finalized answer once this finishes. But once it does, you're going to have a very simple explanation of what this accessibility issue is. And really, let's go over the questions here. What is this issue in simple terms? Why does it matter for users with disabilities? How does it affect different user types? What's a simple way to fix? And so on. And this is just one of the AI tools. I'm going to exit out of this now, and we're going to go back to analyze with AI. And actually, I didn't exit out, so we're going to refresh. And then we can see there are other tools. So there is detailed technical answer. There's alternative approaches. Maybe you don't like the suggestion that the auditor has provided. We can have alternative approaches where possible. We also can look at the WCAG standards, so we can look at a detailed explanation for the success criterion involved. And then we can also get a custom analysis where we are providing the prompt. But otherwise, with these other 4 tools, it's already, the information is already, AI already has the information, and it's already been pre-prompted. So you don't have to think of the prompt. You don't have to know the right prompt. Here, everything is there for you inside of the dashboard. So that's a really nice feature of Accessibility Tracker. And what's coming next in the next 30 days are going to be very detailed accessibility documentation and reports that help you, that give you the ability to instantly share progress and have an idea of what's been completed, what needs to be worked on. This is going to be really helpful when you're working on certain aspects of compliance. Also, in the United States, we know there's ongoing serial litigation, and sometimes there are different settlement terms that require progress reports and evidence of progress and evidence of accessibility. This provides that. So Accessibility Tracker is going to be so helpful for so many different organizations. This puts AI as close as possible to accessibility, and this really speeds up the project altogether. And so I think it's very conservative to estimate that this will speed up a project 2.5 times. So let's say that normally the project, if you went by just the Excel spreadsheet audit report, if you just work from that report and work back and forth, you'd probably be looking at, let's say, like a project could take 50 hours. With Accessibility Tracker, because everything is so efficient and streamlined, you're probably looking more at like 20 hours to finish the project. And this is with no automation. This is just making the project seamless. So Accessibility Tracker is really helpful. You can sign up for a free plan to get started, and then there are more plans if you want more features. So I will include a link to Accessibility Tracker in the description, and the website is accessibilitytracker.com.